Hey, go and get it down. Go and get it down right about now. Hey,
What is up, Shakers and Groovers? Shit Show Disco here. Now, thank you very much for joining me for season 3 of The Music That Made You. Today, we're in the studio with the one, the only, Nuz.
Yeah.
How are you, my dude?
Good, thank you, mate. Good, thank you.
Oh, dude, thank you very much for coming on. I'm actually quite interested to hear the roots of all your kind of musical endeavours that you've completed so far and the inspirations behind you as an artist, I think. For those that don't know Nuz, he's a big performer on the Gold Coast. Could you maybe give the guys a bit of an outline on what exactly you do?
Well, to give you a little bit of a history of where I've come from, born in New Zealand and been raised in Brisbane all my life. Started off did all my schooling in Brisbane and then became a dancer. So I was dancing all around the place, doing hip-hop dancing, crew dancing.
Yeah, like b-boy kind of...
Yeah,
cool.
And when the movie You Got Served came out, it was kind of like, it was battles in the clubs and battles anywhere you could find.
Yeah.
So we were doing that in relation to doing competitions and then winning competitions, then getting on to creating a business out of that, doing podium, sending dancers out to doing podium dancing and all sorts of different work like that and corporate work. And then we all kind of ended up splitting our different ways because of commitments and studies and things like that.
Yeah.
I ended up doing a diploma in network engineering and being a bit of a nerd because that's what I am. I'm a bit of a nerd.
Look at all this crap. Yeah, we're all into it, aren't we?
Real nerd. So and then cut a long story short, I kind of fell into singing, and I wasn't a singer.
Oh.
I was purely a dancer, and through doing gigs, this dude from Soul Cuts, his name is Benson. His name is.
Yes.
He had a group called Out There back in the days, and he says, "Bro, can you sing?" I was like, "Nah, but I'll give it a try." So he gave me the mic. My first gig was at a wedding.
Stop.
And we were doing it to track. Mini disc was the media that we were using, and all I had to do was just hold the mic and do the routines that they were doing. So that was easy.
Yeah.
And then act as though I'm singing. So I was doing a lot of miming for a while.
Yeah.
And then started to put sing something, and then I got my mic turned down.
Yeah.
So that told me a big thing. So I ended up doing like 2-3 gigs at RSLs and all these things, sort of things, and then I ended up just doing some singing lessons.
Yeah. And how long ago was that?
We're talking maybe 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've been singing for a good 15 years now.
Wow.
But not from a natural progression of just I can sing, so I'll just go sing.
Yeah.
I really had to
work at it
and train to sing, and I'm talking like two times a week with 3 times a week singing, and then back again 2 times training a week.
Yeah.
So I was just glad that I was able to. I had these gigs so I could apply these techniques.
Yes.
See
them in motion.
Yeah, see them in motion and just working on my craft, and then things just moved from going as a group, then going solo, and then being noticed by other groups, especially on the Gold Coast. I was like the Nuzzy coming on the scene. I was like about 19, 20, and all these other boys are like in their early 30s, late 30s.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, who's this guy?"
Looking for a bit of young spunk in the group.
Well, there was a bit of jealousy. Because who's this guy? Because these guys were just ruling, Sex and Chocolate.
I was about to say, was it? Yeah.
Sex and Chocolate, Temperature Rising, all these 3-man groups were taking over the Gold Coast.
Yes.
And they were just, they were killing the circuit. killing the circuit more than DJs.
Yeah, yeah.
And the live scene back in the late 90s was just massive on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
So I probably came around in the early mid 2000s.
Yes.
Doing my thing, and
Yeah,
then
nice.
then there was a little bit of, ooh, who's this guy? Ooh, we've got to watch out for this guy.
Oh, we can dance too.
Yeah, we can dance too. Oh shit, he's known the latest music. Oh, yeah.
No, that's sick. So obviously through doing that, you've then eventually gone into doing stuff on television. Has that been enjoyable? Has that been?
Oh look, having these programs pop up on TV as a vehicle for singers to really, go from being a wedding singer to being an artist.
Yes.
It's been a real help. It's just a shame that DJs don't get this sort of these opportunities to have a vehicle to really boost them, or they do it for construction, they do it for cooking,
the block cooking,
cooking, and for singers. You know what I mean? So. My first debut was on X Factor back in 2015 with Jade Louise, and she's also a singer on the circuit.
Yes.
And we were a bit of a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
We called Straight Up.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight Up.
It's
and,
not Kiwi at all.
Yeah. and we did all right. And then straight from that, we got noticed by New Zealand TV to do the GC.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So we were just thrown straight into the GC because our chemistry was really, really quirky.
Yes.
She would give me shit, I'd give her shit, and again.
Yeah.
And so.
For those that don't know, that was the Geordie Shore before there was a Geordie Shore. That was the Gold Coast.
Yeah, Gold Coast version.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think Sydney tried to do the Shire.
That's right.
At the same time.
Yeah.
But Jersey Shore was the flagship of that sort of style of reality TV, and it was supposed to be a documentary on Kiwis on the Gold Coast to see how they're living, how they're coping, how they're living away from home. So it's supposed to be a documentary, but then when they interviewed all the characters, they were like they've never seen these sort of characters before.
Yes.
The fact that the boys go and train and they oil up and they take care of them, so they shave the legs, all these sort of things.
Before it was norm for males. That was
But these boys are doing it and working out and just being quite vain.
Yes.
As a normal thing. This sort of behavior back home is just looked down upon almost. Who do you think you're, like, show ponies? You guys are plastic Maoris, So we got a lot of hate.
Yes.
And because of that hate, we ended up on Channel 7 over here getting interviewed.
Yes.
So it was a whirlwind. We really have to keep our heads low because we were getting a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But the Māoris on the Gold Coast were like, nah, that's how we all are. They don't understand how the Maoris in New Zealand are different from the Maoris in Brisbane.
Yes.
Different for the Maoris on the Gold Coast. So it just started trending, like our little quirky things that we used to say.
Yeah.
That was just going viral in New Zealand.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was actually going viral. All the young kids was just saying, "Hey Neff, hey Unks."
Yeah.
Auntie calling the chick auntie.
Yeah.
Calling the boys Neff.
Which is stuff you hear now, and it's like,
I
hear that as an Australian, and it's like, I know what it means.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's wild. So you thoroughly enjoyed your time doing all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing that kept me a little bit grounded was because I've been gigging quite a bit, and you're kind of used to the attention, and you get a bit desensitized to a lot of the attention because this is our craft, this is what we do.
It's a daily occurrence.
Yeah. So when you go onto TV and you start getting extra attention, you're grounded enough to be able to handle and manage that. So so when you go and so your etiquette off stage is always humble to a point,
Yes.
dealing with people. Whereas when you get new cats on the GC that just never been on reality TV show before,
Like
and
someone that goes on Big Brother for the first time. Or,
and they just jump straight in there, and then they all get all this attention, just go straight to their head,
Yes.
and then they become divas, and then they portray a really bad side of themselves
Yeah.
to the public. So
No, definitely. Well, like all my interactions with you have been calm, cool, and collected, so it's definitely worked fine for you, my dude.
Yeah.
Now, how long do you think you would have been performing for? Since dancing, since you started, what, really, your whole
Jeez.
life, nearly?
Well, yeah. Back in '88 when they had the expo, my parents put me on stage at 3.5.
Wow, how good!
Yeah. Well, my family are I'm not sure when they moved though. I was born in '84, so they came over from my whole family are performers.
Yeah.
And they wanted to create a Maori cultural group here.
Mm.
And so with a lot of Māoris that came over from New Zealand, my family thought they'd just create a group so all these Māoris could come together and we could make a little bit of money on the side and just keep themselves connected
Yes.
with their Māori tanga because when you live in a different country,
Yes.
foreign country, you're a little bit scared coming from a cultural country.
Yes.
So performing in kapahaka was what we call it was a big thing. So I was the only kid around at that time.
Yeah.
So I was just surrounded. Well, they're constantly rehearsing, 2-3 times a week, and so I'm just there
Picking it up.
just like a little sponge.
Yeah.
And I can't run off with other kids, you know what I mean, and cause a ruckus. So I had to just sit there with my toys.
Yeah,
and
nice.
and then pick it all up. And then by the time I got bored of my toys, I ended up just jumping up and just trying to see what the boys are doing, and see what the girls are doing, and just picking up.
How good's that?
Yeah. So, but by the time Expo came, like I was mouthing the words. I knew the actions. I knew exactly when this was happening.
Yeah.
I knew when they did the haka that they start off with this.
Yeah.
And they do all these other actions, and I knew it off by heart.
Oh, that's crazy.
So they just chucked me on stage and they just let me go. They didn't have to worry about me.
It's freestyle.
Yeah,
Just straight
just
in.
freestyled it and just killed it.
That's sick.
Killed it.
Oh, how good.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember being that age? Obviously, you said you were performing family, music was always around you. Do you recall your first memory of hearing music?
Geez, well, every time that we would have let's say you come over for drinks, or you just come over for a visit, or we have a party, the first thing that comes out is my old man's guitar.
Yeah.
And then he would just sing a medley of all these songs, and usually it's soul, Motown. So usually you would hear a bit of the Drifters or a bit of Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
And just some really old stuff that you just don't hear, but you'd only hear in a little jam session.
Yes.
When you hear the chink 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 chink, and it's always 3 chords or 4 chords.
Yeah.
G D C A. So but it was just the energy when someone jumps on the guitar and leads you in song,
Yes.
that everyone's just like,
How good.
you just vibe, and even though you can't sing, you just it's a vibe that's created, and it was always created on a weekly basis. So it's hard to actually answer that question, but I'm just
But it was
constantly
always around you.
constantly in music. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's unreal. Now, can you remember kind of when you were growing up, what would you listen to? What would your go-to, like, Nuz jams be?
Back in the days?
Yeah,
Back in the days. Geez, well, tape was always the go-to media to play. And
you might have to look that up, guys.
cassette tape. Cassette tape. Cassette tape was the go-to. Geez, I think back in those days, I think I was listening to like Blackstreet,
Yeah,
Blackstreet's first album, Boys to Men,
yeah.
All for One,
All the R&B jams.
all the R&B jams, and sometimes I just get hooked on just listening to the one song.
Yeah,
But depending on my mood, it might be Puff Daddy.
yeah,
Puff Daddy back in the days. But Usher's tracks was, well, all of Usher really was my inspiration.
yeah.
With dancing,
Yes.
first and foremost,
Because he did both. What he,
and then his singing, yeah.
yeah. So, obviously Usher, because Burn, I think, was like the main one that I remember, that whole album.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that, I just remember that when he released that was just like, to me, it was his big like, and
Yeah,
everyone was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this guy does everything.
Yeah.
Now, can you remember what the first kind of record or cassette or tape or whatever media that you bought for yourself or someone bought for you?
It was a lot of these CDs. Like obviously, I couldn't buy it back in those days, but I somehow accumulated these CDs. I got no idea how. And I was a kitchen hand at a Japanese restaurant called Garuva when I was about 12. My parents were owned a restaurant back in the days, and they always got these promotional CDs that they play for background music,
Yes.
which was before Spotify came along.
Yeah.
All your online media, you'd get sent out promotional CDs, and
Yeah.
this promotional CD was Casey and JoJo,
Oh.
and it was All My Life
Yeah.
on there, and this was way before their single actually
Came out. Yeah.
So this was just like a prototype track, and so I was listening to them quite a bit, and then the actual album that I bought was Aaliyah's One in a Million
Oh, yeah, yeah.
album. Yeah.
Your love is a one in a million.
Yeah.
I downloaded that vocal sample probably like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, because I was working on, I was trying to make like a Kate Trinata type track.
Yeah.
And I was looking for old songs that hadn't been sampled yet.
Yeah.
And that's one. And I was just like, oh, hey.
Oh, she's a good go-to, man.
Yeah, she's got pipes on her.
Yeah.
Now, obviously you've played so many shows, from corporate gigs to TV stuff to your regular spots. Are there any that really stick with you? It's like, wow.
Oh, geez, well, bit from a TV point of view, I would say on The Voice, you feel pretty special.
Yeah,
You know,
hundreds.
that you've got so many people running after you, and so many people. Would you like some water? Did you need this? You need that? Oh, let me just clear that
Yeah.
that sweat upon
Fresh
your
fade.
brow. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get a fade.
Oh!
Didn't get a fade. Heck. Which kind of drove me to friggin' YouTubing how to fade myself.
Yeah.
So I've got that under my belt now.
For anyone out there,
Yeah.
tough times.
Yeah, tough times, friggin'.
For a performer.
Yeah. Just fade before my gig.
So, The Voice pretty much is.
Yeah, the Voice was number one, and then obviously the festivals that would come from it.
Yes.
And I guess in any festival where you've got at least over between 2 to 10,000 people in front of you just jumping,
Yeah.
it's a real vibe, and I certainly miss that during
Yes.
these days. I'm not sure when we're gonna get back to those days again, but
Man, I missed 200.
yeah, well, to come back and do gigs for 30 people and 40 people
Yeah.
and 20 people, you've really got to humble yourself, because sometimes when you're up on that pedestal performing on that level
Yeah.
for quite a time, you're like, there's no way I'm going to perform at an RSL. There's no way I'm going to do a wedding. There's no way I'm going to do this. But COVID has definitely humbled a lot of us, and it's certainly I've become a lot more grateful during these times
100%.
to really really just take what you can and just run with it and enjoy it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed the same, like me personally. Like this year when Splendor went past, all these little like reminders were coming up like, oh, this time last year we were playing at Splendor. And I'm like, oh, sick. Now it's just like, I play at like smaller spaces and there's only 40 or 50 people there. But my first gig back, I was like, I'm back. This is sick. Like, I don't care who's here. Like, it was just so good to kind of, and like you said, it really did like knock a few people down on pedestals, you know, and just was like, hey guys, you're so lucky to do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get really complacent. You know, day in and day out when you're doing like festival after festival, you're getting from state to state and then doing all these busy gigs and making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're doing that for a good 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You start to like get very choosy as to what you want to do, and then when that gets taken away from you, you certainly realize.
Yeah, I think the other big thing too was like when I know you kind of you don't get big of yourself, but you know you think you're on this endless ride.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets pulled out, and you're like, wow, I'm actually really lucky to do anything.
Absolutely.
It's just so. Obviously, like you said, you've played lots of big shows. You've played at festivals, random places. What about shows you've seen personally? Are there any artists that you've seen live or that you've kind of sat there and just gone, what, this is just out of control?
Well, he's not that big, but when I did the Commonwealth Games, which isn't like a big thing to say, wow, I did Commonwealth Games, but we had just jumped off The Voice, and Guy Sebastian was one of the judges, and Guy Sebastian was the head artist for the finale, and so we're all kind of in the lineup, you know, and we're getting instructed as to when to go on stage. And
on the Gold Coast one?
On the Gold Coast one, yeah. So we're having a good chat and just talking about The Voice and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So developing that connection and then seeing him sing for real, you know, you just like, well, that's why he won the Idol. That's why he's number one. That's why he's so good.
Yeah.
Like, cause you don't I never really got to hear him live. I think I saw him live at the casino, I think last year. But to see him in a rehearsal space and him just going balls out and just, you know, okay, can I just get a bit of my earphones again, and then he just blasts again, you know.
Wow.
It's a little bit different to when you hear them on stage, because on stage a little bit more reserved, a bit polished.
Yes.
There's a little bit more overthinking going when it's fully rehearsed and it's ready for show. But when you get to have a talk to them before they get up on stage for rehearsal, it's like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then of course you got, you know, I've got to hear Delta just sing a few lines, and then back in 2016, Jessie J, freaking show me how to sing Uptown Funk.
Yeah, that's just.
She goes, okay, Nuz, can you sing, you know, sing your line? And I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
I was shitting myself singing in front of her, especially when we didn't know what we were singing.
Yes.
And then they give us the paper. This is what you're singing.
Okay.
And then we have to quickly sort it out between three of us.
Yes.
Because as a trio, singing a song as a trio, it's like, oh, okay. Well, can you give us a second just so we can figure out who's singing what and what parts? So we didn't get to do any of that.
Yes.
It was just like, all right, boys, you got this? All right, go for it.
Yeah. Far out.
And then we're like, okay, Nuz, you can start, Nuz.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
Uptown.
What key is that again?
Yeah. Who am I pretending to sing like? Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars. Not a hard one at all.
Oh, man. And the biggest thing she said to me was the diction.
Okay.
And it related to me, and it still relates to me, because when you start singing, you're singing covers, you're singing for years, you can slowly get lost in singing words and lyrics. You just say lyrics for the sake of saying lyrics. So when we're singing covers, we're not actually singing to someone. This song is just like we're just singing the song.
Yeah.
It's got a vibe,
Yes.
and people know Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
You know, you hear so many women sing Valerie. But
I drop that so often in my sets.
but when they're singing the words, sometimes they sing it. Sometimes the words get a little bit distorted with their way they're saying it,
Yes.
because they're so lazy because they've sang it all the time.
Yeah.
So we came across a little bit lazy approaching the song, because it was like this hit that ice cold that what, and it's more like this hit that ice cold.
Yeah.
You know, the way you say it and the way you enunciate the vowels, you can really you can make it your own by just making this part longer or this vowel shorter,
Yeah.
and this cut this bit off, put a bit of vibrato here.
Yeah.
So she was automatically in friggin' dissecting mode.
Yeah.
As soon as I opened my mouth, I'm like, and when she was like just cutting me up, it was really hard to friggin' capture it. I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you, but what did you say again? This hit that ice cold. Yeah, open your mouth when you sing. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So she says, all right, well, just take that home and you learn that.
While still remembering.
Remembering.
Where you are.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
who's talking to you. And like,
On TV, they're
Yeah.
freaking capturing
Yeah.
it all. They're capturing my freaking reaction.
oh, mate, that's wild. Yeah, definitely those, yeah, there's some inspiration for you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
And from that point on, I've never forgotten some of those things, because when we speak, we're not really opening our mouths very much, but when you sing, you have to give your mouth enough resonance in there to give space for you to say whatever you need to say. So you'll be making all sorts of funny faces, and she's the queen of making funny faces when you see her singing.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah.
That's wild. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so wild. Now, obviously, you listen to heaps of music, perform heaps of music. Are there any songs that really get you in that feels? You know, just that when it comes on.
Oh yeah. Jeez, and anything reggae would really put me in that mood. And then again, it just depends on what mood you're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, if you want to start really feeling like you're ready to go to the gym or something, and you want to feel that energy, you know, you put on such and such music. Yeah. But to get those feels, sometimes soul does it. You know, sometimes it's that old Motown that does it, or the 50s. Some of those the 50 crooner stuff, done by your Bing Crosby or your friggin' Nat King Cole. Yeah. Sometimes they've got those smooth velvet sounds that really just put you in a place where
you can tell they've seen some shit.
Yeah,
you hear it in their voice, like
exactly.
You can tell. Now, what about current music? Is there anything you enjoy listening to at the moment?
Geez, I'm really trying to capture as much hip hop, both new and old as possible. Yeah. Given the criteria of creating a vibe,
like upcoming gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, just for my gigs. My gigs are the reason why I listen to a certain type of music.
Yes.
So at the moment, I'm listening to everything to do with R&B and hip hop right now. Yeah. Because I need that sort of content in my playlist to be able to keep that vibe happening. Yes. So anything from the new trap stuff to the old hip hop. Yeah. And then just kind of, because I've got to sing all these lyrics. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one thing loving the sort of music and listening to it, but then for me, I have to determine whether or not I'm going to spend all this time learning these lyrics. Yes. or whether I just learn a verse and a chorus and then get out of there,
Yeah.
and then the
Give him a
next
bit of
one.
hype. Next song.
Bit of hype, next song. Bit of horn. Next song.
Blackstreet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nice. No, that's completely understandable because obviously you want to also play some songs that aren't going to be too hype. That when you have to either come back in, you kind of like,
Yeah.
am I meant to live up to this banger?
Yeah, that's right.
And no, honestly, every time I've seen you play, you definitely have the hype, man. There's nothing to worry about there. And the hype that isn't there, the dance moves, they get you over that line.
Get you over that line.
Now, it's come to the time of the show where we are going to play my favourite game, Mr. Sausage.
Oh, Mr. Sausage.
Mr. Sausage. All right, so we had a little crack before. You just press that middle button to start off again. Now I'll be very quiet because sometimes people get annoyed, so I'll be like, oh, and they're like, shut up. So you get 3 turns.
Okay.
Please. Oh, hold on. Remember the bottom ones down.
The hit.
The-
That's
yeah.
the hit, and
Yeah.
that's the poke. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Hot dog single. The high score is 65. Poke me to start.
Okay.
Dip me. Dip me. Stretch me. Dip me. Stretch me. Poke me. Shake me. Stretch me. Dip me. Stretch me. Poke me. Stretch me. Shake me. Twist me. Stretch me. Shake me. Dip me. Twist me.
Oh.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Your score is 17.
Who's
Poke me
17?
to play
Yeah,
again.
one more. Yeah, you one more.
All right, one more.
That was solid. That was pretty solid.
Dip me, dip me, stretch me, shake me, twist me. No, you're
That's Tristan.
17, bro. Solid work.
17.
Solid work, my dude. That goes in the book. I'm going to make
in
a
the book.
super edit at the end, and I'm going to make it like, so like you do one, then I'll cut to the next person, they'll do the next one.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll like...
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide if I want to get like a trophy or something for the
Oh.
silly sausage trophy.
I'm sure you'll figure something out.
Now, if I was to go out to your car right now and you plug in your iPod or whatever you got on, what's playing? What's radio or what's on?
Jeez.
Podcasts?
Usually nothing.
Yep.
I don't mind a bit of silence
Hard.
in the car when you're constantly around music from Thursday to Sunday is when I gig. 3 to 4 hours of music I'm constantly listening to. So
Yeah.
when I'm back in the car, it's just nice to just listen to nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
And then usually I'm just looking at TikToks and what
Not while he's driving,
not
but
while I'm driving, of course. But I've just heard of people looking at TikToks.
yeah, mate, I'm exactly the same. You know, when sometimes we'll go somewhere after a gig or you do something and they'll be like, "Oh, the DJ's here," and I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm not. Like, I'm finished. This is not like I'm not here to contribute in any way."
Yes,
Or,
yes,
like,
yes.
The old like message of like, "Oh, do you reckon you can like hook us up a Spotify playlist? I've got like a birthday coming up." Nah, man. Yeah, like even in the car, a lot of people give me shit because I listen to like AM radio when I'm in the car because I'll just listen to like Talkback or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're
yeah.
always like, "Why are you listening to this?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, because I don't have to think.
Yeah, that's right.
I like hearing what Bob from The Shy is doing on Saturday afternoon, talking about the Dragons and Sharks game.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to listen to one song for the rest of your life, just on repeat, you had no other choices, what would that song be?
Heck,
I know. Mine's Purple Rain by Prince.
Purple Rain.
It's deep.
That is deep. I would have to. I'll probably have to listen to. I wouldn't mind listening to a bit of the old Johnny O'Keefe.
Yeah?
He was a crooner, an Aussie crooner
Oh, okay.
back in the 50s.
Yeah.
a copycat of your Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin,
Yeah.
and he brought out a track called "I'm Counting on You," and it's just one of those tracks where the lyrics are simple,
Yeah.
and obviously talking from things that he's experienced, because a lot of those cats back in those 50s that they've experienced, it's either just falling in love or meeting you for the first time,
Yes.
or a little bit not quite sure whether I want to meet you or whether I want to love you or what.
Yeah.
You know, it was very simple, beautiful times back then.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
So yeah,
Yeah, nice.
and
Johnny Keith?
Johnny O'Keefe. Yeah,
Johnny O'Keefe. Yeah,
I'm
nice.
counting on you. Yeah,
Yeah, very nice. I like that. I'll have to look it up.
yeah.
I've got a Spotify playlist. I kind of add everyone's music that they discuss to after every episode. So I've got that many random songs in there. So I think that'd be sick. Now, obviously with COVID and stuff, and you know, gigs are slowly coming back, and it's feeling okay. What did you miss most about not being able to perform?
I didn't really miss not performing. I just missed. I think I missed just training and socializing.
Yes.
Because when we work, we're kind of socializing at the same time.
Yes.
So if you were to put work and socializing up there, you're like, which one would you prefer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you take work away,
Yeah.
and then you've always got socializing to
Yeah.
do. But when you take them both away, you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
can't go out and record, can't go see my mate, can't do this, can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't even go get a haircut, you can't do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing, and obviously I like to train, and just to keep the body fit and keep the image up, and you can't do that during COVID unless you really want to go that extra step by doing your burpees and push-ups at home and everything.
In between Dota.
That's right. I'm too busy on online gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like I was saying to you a while ago, everyone's kind of got into it hard in the downtime.
Yeah.
But it's good. Obviously, everything's slowly coming back. But yeah, it's just a crack up how everyone kind of jumped on the gaming. Everyone's like, oh, it's getting so many random messages of people being like, "What's your gamer tag?" And I'm like, "Oh, you play." Now, where exactly do you kind of see yourself as an artist or brand in the next year? Like, what do you want to strive towards? What's on the cards for you?
Man, I'd very much like to break away from our group and what the group's brand and motto is, and that's more appealing to your older demographic. Doing your easy listening, happy vibe songs. Me, I'd like to probably explore the fusion type between reggae and hip hop, or reggae and reggae trap, reggae dubstep.
Oh wow!
So those three genres, with overtones of your Anderson .Paak,
Yeah.
you know, the funk.
Yeah.
Having that funk with the reggae twang of your lyrics, with some heavy hitting beats, you know, that's kind of where I'd like to explore.
Yes.
And it's just, and I guess I say that because it's all of these different genres that I really like, and then I see myself being able to match that same energy performing wise.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so like yourself, I'm kind of in that planning stage, kind of knowing what I want to do, but just gotta go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's exciting, man. Like I was about to say, like all those, like the artists you mentioned, like Anderson .Paak, great performers, great vocalists, but it's like all the other stuff, the on stage presence, like the stuff that you rock, it's all part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like especially with that hip hop kind of influenced kind of R&B still, like
Yeah.
it's just so big at the moment.
Yeah.
Like it's such a, and anyone can listen to it. Like I know it may not be an older demographic that kind of listen to it, but if it was to come on, they're not going to complain because it's just got that, I don't know, that vibe. I love it so much.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really exciting.
Well, you know, when trap hip hop comes around, like a new track of that sort of genre, you know, I get hyped.
Yeah.
And then when I see TikTok, when you see people dancing or making dances to it and kind of freestyling to it, you're like, I see, because the dancing is changing as well with the genres that are coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you put down Jump Around.
Yeah.
You know, or Rump Shaker, some of those old hip hop classics. The dancing back then is very much different from the dancing that's happening now.
Yeah.
And so I always like to evolve when it comes to music and dancing. So if I was to evolve with music coming out now, I'd see myself fusing maybe two or three genres.
Yeah.
And just capturing the best overtones of each, and then you know, I guess that's what an artist can do at the end of the day. You know, that's kind of what makes an artist quite different.
Yes.
Or very unique compared to the norm.
Yeah. No, that's exciting, man. That's really
yeah.
exciting. Now, if there was an artist and you were able to get another artist to cover a song of theirs, kind of like a version kind of vibe, is there anyone that you can kind of think of in your head that you kind of enjoy?
To cover their one?
To cover any artist. So let me put it this way. So I was listening to Rock DJ by Robbie Williams.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, don't get no head, no backstage passes. Time to move your body.
Yeah,
now imagine if that's sung by Notorious B.I.G. That would be the most gangster song ever.
This is true.
Like, so, and, you know, I may have been on one. May have been after a day on the yacht club playing, and me and my mate were on our way back in the cab at like 9:30 on fire. But yeah, is there any artists that you kind of hear or anyone that you kind of think of where you'd be like, fuck, wouldn't that be cool if that dude covered them? Or
Well, I wouldn't mind your Eminem kind of covering, say, something from say Celine Dion, or you know, like an opera singer.
Yeah.
You know, because Eminem is so freaking. He is a genius when it comes to lyric writing.
Yeah.
And to be able to create anything from which he's not famous for. He's not famous from grabbing someone else's and then creating his own. He's always just created his own, which has kept him in a whole league of his own.
Yes.
But to see him do something like that would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, that'd be... Yeah, imagine Eminem just... Yeah, that'd be wild.
It's hard to even, like, what the hell would that sound like? You know what I mean?
Tell me that, now, if you had 3 people that you could sit down and have a dinner with, anyone in the world, to gain some knowledge or just to hang out, who would it be?
I would have to, I wouldn't mind sitting down with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind sitting down with...
Would he bring his misso? Would Beyonce take a chair up as well? Or
well, that would be an added bonus, you know. Oh, Nuz is coming. Yes, I'll come. That's probably what will happen, you know. Beyonce will probably hear that I'm coming.
Told me about it.
Well, Kelly would have said something.
That's more of a
Kelly would have
connection.
said, from the voice, Kelly would have said something. And obviously...
The push came to shove.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she'd definitely be there.
Yeah, obviously.
And that other cat, Brand Richard
Branson.
Yeah.
The Virgin guy.
No.
Oh, get him to the Greek, the actor.
The comedian.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Russell
Russell Brand.
Russell
Yeah.
Brand. Yeah. Russell
Yeah.
Richard Brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Love to have him at the table. I wouldn't have it understand a word he would say, but just to freaking be
Get
in
the
his
vibe.
presence.
Yeah.
Be in his presence would be pretty amazing. And then yeah, maybe Elon Musk.
Ooh.
Like I'm always interested in tech.
Yeah.
And obviously the future and of what we're about to leap into.
Yes.
So having the tech, having that tech head, you got a music head,
And spiritual.
and then you got the spiritual head
Yeah.
in there. That'll be a good combination to.
Yeah. That's solid. I
Yeah.
reckon that's the best 3 I've had so far.
Oh, dude.
Mate, yeah, hard. Other ones have been like, oh, imagine like just going out on the piss with like David Beckham when he was in his prime. Now, we haven't really spoken about it yet, but I thought I'd bring it up. For those that don't know, Nuz heavily cares for his grandfather at the moment, and Nuz is very passionate about helping, but not only helping his grandfather, but kind of getting the stigma kind of out there, you know, about dementia and old age and nutrition, obviously because you stay healthy and eat the right things. First off, if anyone doesn't follow the Instagram, what's the name of it again? Sorry?
That's Uncle Harry.
Uncle Harry.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Uncle Harry. His Instagram.
That's Uncle Harry. So
Yeah.
if you want to have a bit of a laugh, but still learn and see what goes on in the general mind or days of someone with dementia or early onset dementia, give it a look. Nuz, do you want to kind of fill them in? Or?
Yeah. So, well, my grandfather is 89 at the moment, and he's been suffering with dementia for probably about 5 years. And over the last 3 years, I've recorded him and vlogged him and captured him in his own environment, doing his own thing, and for the last 3 years. So over the last 3 years, he's accumulated 777 followers, and
More than me.
and I care for him three times a week. Yeah, I didn't used to care for him, but it's just come to a point now where I'm not quite sure what stage of dementia he's at, but they get to a point where they're very aware of the day and night, so they won't do anything until it's nighttime, or they won't do anything until a certain time, and then they obviously won't shower, or they'll just say they've had a shower and they won't have a shower. They say they'll do things, but they haven't done things. They won't eat, or they'll just feed on sugar and anything sweet. He'll just love and devour. And so some might say, oh, that's cute, you know, and when you're family, you can just keep giving him bread and jam and cookies and freaking cake and blah blah blah. But when you start feeding a person this, and it becomes their daily ritual nutrition, you'll get the surprises of diabetes or high cholesterol or liver damage or kidney failure, or something wrong with the heart. So I can't really stop the progression of dementia, but I can certainly make sure that he doesn't suffer from anything else.
Yes.
So I've been putting him on meal supplements, drinkable meal supplements, because he won't eat, but he'll drink.
Yes.
So he likes his coffee, so I'll trick him.
Yeah.
I'll trick him using a coffee flavored sustagen, and he gets his meal.
Yeah.
And
Gets
then-
everything he needs in that.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that even we can't obtain just eating normal foods.
Yes.
So many different vitamins that we're just not bothering to take, you know, unless we're sick and the doctor tells us, oh, geez, you're going to need a bit of vitamin D and B12 and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So as a precautionary thing, just takes that. And then I put him on supplements, so magnesium supplements for his muscles, calcium supplements to strengthen his bones, alkaline tablets just to keep him extra alkaline, or keep, if he's not eating veggies for alkaline, then he can take these tablets. Fish oil to help his joints, and oils to help his brain function as well.
Yes.
And I'll be soon looking at cannabis oil to add into his daily routine.
Yeah.
But doing these things, like I'm not sure how long it will take of having these things to see how heavily I'm stopping the progression. You know what I mean? But I'm just hacking his dementia characteristics.
Yes.
Like he loves to drink, so I'll make him a Vita Greens in a clear glass so he can see it, and I'll just put it in front of him with his tablets. And because he sees that the drink there, he'll just grab it and drink it.
Yeah.
He won't. Then doesn't even know what it is,
Yeah.
but he'll just drink it.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
It's green there, but it's got cordial in it.
Yeah.
So he'll drink it. He goes, ooh. And then he'll just start drinking, and then he'll take his tablets. And by the time he's finished, he's drunk the whole lot.
Yeah.
And to try and get a normal person, if a normal person did have dementia, and you try and get a normal person to do that, they wouldn't drink it. Like, oh, that's yuck. Like, don't give me that.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit harder dealing with an actual normal person at that age,
Yes.
dealing with problems, than it is with a person with dementia, because they've totally forgotten
Yeah.
that they've had something. So you can at least trick them to take something.
Yeah.
They don't realize that they might have had a quarrel, or they might have called you bad things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And so it's all good.
Yeah.
It's like a new day to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like I mentioned to you, my stepmom went through the same thing, and we didn't get along when I was younger.
Yeah.
But then when she got quite older and a lot of dementia, I was the hero. I was like, how good's this? But yeah, you may be wondering why I brought that up, but I just think it's important for people to see that, performers, artists, all that, they have stuff going on in their lives too, and it's very much from when me and Nuz have spoken about it. If he can kind of reach out and help one other person, help their loved one or something like that, I think the job's been done,
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a tough thing to go through as a family, as a person. But man, I take my hat off to you, bro, because obviously the videos are funny and all that stuff's funny. But I know, man, it's tough.
Yeah,
It's
behind
tough.
it all, it's tough, and my grandmother takes the brunt of it. I just come in 3 times a day,
Yeah.
what I mean? 3 times a day in a week. It's not that much.
Yeah.
But to capture as much as I can,
Yeah.
it'll just be a beautiful thing to look back on when he passes. So
Yeah.
he's got quite the following, and I want to try and I want to bring out a line of clothing, like freaking, like a t-shirt, and
Yeah.
just have pups and
Yeah.
all sorts of things. So that's what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
And then just all the money goes to him,
Yeah.
and to see if, well, the more I kind of have a look at dementia, and to see if, whether there's a cure, I'm not quite sure. If there's like an ebook to help people
Yeah.
deal with it, and what they'll be expecting, and what they can anticipate, and then what they can try and do in the meantime.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good cause to go to. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
These are just kind of ideas.
Yeah.
that-
100%.
But there's a few people that want to wear pups
Oh,
as
dude,
shirts.
I'd wear a pub shirt for sure, bro. I'd wear one. Pups on the front, on the back could say, "Where's my beer?"
Yeah. Where's my beer? Or sitting in the warm.
Yeah. Or just Tetris killer. Now, thanks heaps for coming on today, Nuz. It's
Thanks,
been
man.
rad to learn a bit more. Do you have any advice for anyone up and coming, or anyone that's maybe looking to go to that voice tryout or perform on the reg?
Oh man, I think there's probably maybe 2 words that could describe what you probably need to do, and this goes for going into anything, and that is just to commit to that idea. If you got an idea, just absolutely commit to it, and then once you've committed to it, be consistent with following through with it.
Okay.
If you want to go on The Voice, then you got to know exactly what's required on The Voice.
Yeah.
Forget all the other bullshit where people say, "Oh, it's all about stories. You got to have a story." Da 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 da. That's just one aspect to get the people to get to know about you, but you need to be the master of your voice before you jump onto that stage. And don't go with the impression that you're just going there to try out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go in there with the attitude to win, and commit to that.
Yeah.
Because and even if you don't win, which it's a good thing that you don't win, but it certainly gives you an idea as to what you're up against.
Yeah.
And then what sort of level you need to be at. Because if your parents are just telling you, you know, you're great, or your auntie and uncle said, "Oh, you're awesome,"
Yeah.
you know, or you're the crowd in front of you that you play in front of, they're telling you you're awesome.
Yeah.
You'll never know if you're awesome until you actually put
To
your
take
foot
the
in.
jump.
Yeah, you got to jump. You got to take that risk.
Yeah.
And we tend to not like to take too many risks. We
Yeah.
like to kind of just play it safe.
Yeah.
And the most successful people have been the ones that have taken the risk
Yeah, definitely.
and taken the jump. If you drown, you drown.
Yeah. Now, and what was the advice Jesse J gave to you again? Just go back to that again about the...
Yes, diction.
Diction.
For singers, it's diction, and that is just to make sure that you pronounce every word properly. So then you can then pick and choose how you want to decorate that word with your tones, or whether you want to go falsetto, or you want to go with your vibrato, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you have to, she says, you know, write the words out, you know, just dissect the letters and the words,
Yeah.
and to see how, because sometimes different vowels hinder you from approaching those notes, so your pitch can go right off if you're saying a wide vowel, so you need to narrow the vowels, and it's all very technical, technical singing. But because I came from a technical nature of learning vocals, what she was saying to me in layman's terms was connecting with me really well. So diction,
and you should be all right.
is a go-to.
Now, where can anyone catch you at the moment?
I'm at the Diggers with the Koi Boys on Saturday nights.
Yep.
In Surface, and Koi on a Sunday from 1 o'clock, and White Rhino on Sundays.
Yeah, nice. There's a nice little vibe down at White Rhino.
Yeah, the 5 p.m. vibe.
So I feel like the White Rhino vibes and that kind of, because when I used to play on Yacht on Sundays, that'd be like that. Everyone would be like, "We got a Rhino after Yacht." And I remember I came in hot one day, and I just was like, I obviously finished my whole rider at Yacht. And I was like, "What is up, Nuzzy, bro, my bro?
What up, bro?
And that was when you could dance, and I danced.
Yeah.
But on top of that, what I was getting to, the White Rhino, more younger crew, more younger tunes, not so much your Motown, kind of like, more like what you're really kind of trying to push hard at the moment, and the vibe stakes, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real good vibe, and you know that the fact that I'm still there is a reflection on me doing the right thing, I guess.
Yeah.
To what they want. They're hard taskmasters over there.
Yeah.
You know that they want to make sure that that you're constantly reinventing yourself by learning new songs, keeping the vibe fresh, and then keeping the vibe up.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks again for joining us today. Nuz, thanks for coming on, my dude. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, brother.
Tune in next week, and thanks again for joining us for the music that made you. And see you soon. Peace.